Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
facts, boots,
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, Mr. Justice.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by Man Wonder Mike.
Man Wonder.
I'm keeping it.
I like it.
Okay.
It's good. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Is it just Man Wonder or the Man Wonder?
No, it's just Man Wonder.
Man Wonder Mike.
Yeah, don't twist it up and put the in front of it.
No. Fair enough.
No.
What I have today for us, Mike, and actually before we get into it, because I didn't do what I have a bad habit of is whenever I want to break down a character, I feel like, especially with like these public domain characters, because the way that comics, I guess I should explain comics. Here's how they work.
They're made out of paper.
And there's pictures on them.
F trees.
If you're new, F trees.
That's
a solid
sorry,
callback.
that was a different.
That was a before the show.
It's a callback to something you'll never hear.
I can at least make the point is we were talking and Mike brought up a great point and I agree with him about like nobody is ever like F trees. Like everybody's usually for save the rainforest.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, a tree killed my dad.
Yeah, exactly.
There's never,
right.
Even though that could have happened.
Even that guy is probably like, well, we still need them.
Yeah, they help create oxygen.
I mean, only the Grinch or Trump would say, F trees.
Yeah, and with the
we
Grinch,
don't need them.
With the Grinch, it's just Christmas trees.
Yeah.
So I usually read everything.
Sure.
And so I found another character, and it was one of those where I got into the origin of, and it was just too great, and I was like, I have to do it. And I just started reading through, and it was a lot of some that weren't connected and others, and some were good and some were just boring. So instead of presenting them all to you today, like I usually do, I just have a collection of some of what I thought were the best.
Fantastic.
We are going to cover a character today named Mr. Justice. Now, Mr. Justice is a very weird character in a sense, and I'll kind of explain it once we get to it, but he was created early 1940s.
Okay.
I went on to explain, I was just saying I explained comic books and then I completely left it.
Yeah.
This is how it is in my brain. I'm just constantly jumping around.
How does staples work, Zach?
They're thin pieces of metal.
Okay.
And they're pushed through paper
Yeah.
and it hits the metal strike plate of the stapler and it forces ends to bend.
Wow, you were weirdly prepared for that question. Like that was super.
I've been waiting.
Yeah.
When I was young,
like,
somebody told me someday somebody's going to ask you.
That's a Carly
like,
Simon song.
Ready now.
Sometimes somebody's going to ask you.
Yeah, but not about staplers. But so with Superman,
Carly Simon and Swingline present.
That I heard you bring up Swingline. They made a red stapler.
I know, yeah.
But it's different than the one that they used in the movie.
Yeah.
Because they don't make that actual brand of stapler.
Right.
So if you buy a red stapler, it's not the same as the red stapler from Office Space.
No.
Sorry to bust that bubble for you, too.
No, it's great. That's okay.
Stephen Root is great as Melvin in Office Space.
Stephen Root is just great. Period.
Oh, yeah.
I just love the guy.
Have you watched Barry?
Oh, yeah.
He's great in Barry, too.
He's great in that. He's great in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? As the blind radio DJ guy.
Exactly.
I mean, he's great in news radio.
Oh, there, yeah.
Yep,
Stephen Root and Giancarlo Esposito are two guys that whatever they're in, I just seem to enjoy it.
Yep. By the way, Monday.
Yeah.
We're recording this on July 7th.
Yes.
Right? Today's the 7th?
Yes.
Monday is July 11th.
It's my brother's birthday.
New episode of Better Call Saul. I am super excited.
Oh, how many are left?
There's only 6 left.
Okay.
It is by far my favorite TV show. It is the only TV show that I watch recap videos of. I feel like a freaking 12-year-old. I'm watching these recap and theory videos because they've been off for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like an idiot consumer, but damn it, I love that show.
I do that stuff too.
Great show.
No, it's
anyway,
a fantastic show.
Now, how do comics work?
So comics. No, I was just going to explain that. So when Superman comes out in late 38.
Yeah.
And just becomes so massively popular. There's a boom from all of these other either current comic companies to create the next Superman.
Right.
it leads to Batman, at least a lot of other characters at this time. Captain
Man.
America's around like 41, which, speaking of Batman, I finally watched, and I'd started and never finished it, and I kind of knew the story, but I finally watched the full documentary.
Batman and Robin?
Batman and Bill on Hulu, which is about Bill Finger. Which is about Bill Finger, who is essentially the creator of Batman.
Okay.
I'll say that. Do you not know this story?
Although Bob Kane gets the,
Yeah. So
you have alluded to this story before.
I have. And
you brought it up because
it's a fantastic. Yeah, I'll just give a quick synopsis of it.
It's called Batman and Bill.
It's called Batman and Bill.
It's on Hulu.
And and the guy who did the documentary also wrote a book before he made the documentary called
Batman and Bill.
No, it's called
the book.
Is it Bill or Batman and Bill the Boy Wonder?
Bill and
I can't remember the name of it right now. But it's, it's on my list to read after that too, especially after the documentary. But it's a really interesting story. Essentially what happened is there was a rush to create the next Superman character. So Bob Kane is working on a character that he called the Batman. And the Batman, I feel like I've told this before, so that's why I'm just making it real quick. Just like a complete red suit, black domino mask, bat wings that actually, hung out there for actual bat wings. He calls Bill Finger over. He's like, hey, I got this idea. I think I'm going to pitch. Bill Finger goes, okay, well, what if it's too bright. He's supposed to be a creature of the night. What if we make his, colors gray?
Yeah.
He doesn't need actually bat-shaped wings. It doesn't make sense. It's not practical. We'll do more kind of like a cape, per se. The domino mask, it doesn't fit. Again, if he's supposed to be like a Batman, why don't you do a cape and cowl? You can have the pointy ears kind of thing. Yeah. And also then you can put the logo on the chest. So basically, the creation of Batman, pretty much to me, sounds like it's Bill Finger. But that's neither here nor there. Bob Kane takes Batman to, I can't remember what it is. Is it National that ends up becoming DC? I'm pretty sure. And presents the character. They buy it and he just tells them, this is something I came up with. So in the byline, it's always, and it was also a part of his deal later on then, that it always said Batman created by Bob Kane and just Bob Kane's name.
Right. Bob
Kane used a litany of different artists, like ghost artists and ghost writers for it. I can't remember all the artists, right? But Finger did some of the writing for it and coming up with Bill Finger is responsible for creating Robin, the Joker.
Really?
Riddler. Wow. So many of Batman's rogues gallery. Also, he wrote the first story that had the Batcave and the Batmobile in it, and he named both of them that too.
Oh, wow.
So much to it, and Bob Kane's name is all that's ever on this. So Bill Finger's kind of just an unknown the whole time. And what the story focuses on is just the story of trying to get Bill Finger credit. For Batman.
That makes sense.
But it tells the whole, I think nobody knew about Bill Finger. Everybody at DC kind of knew.
You never said anything. I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, but everybody at DC knew that Bob Finger was using ghost artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For it.
Or Kane.
I'm sorry. Bob Kane was using ghost artists and stuff like that. There was a story.
Bill Finger?
Bill Finger.
Bill Finger,
Bob Kane.
Sounds like a 007
kind of
guy. Bill Finger.
The thing that stinks for what's really sad for Bill Finger is
you're saying his finger stinks?
No. They tell a story later where he doesn't he shows up for a Comic-Con. He doesn't there's not many interviews or anything with Bill Finger. He was always just kind of a back in the shadows kind of guy. Yeah,
sure.
But he shows up at some Comic-Con there just to talk, not just comics in general. And one of the guys introduces him, and he's like, you guys might not know it, but he's had a big hand in Batman, because the people in the industry obviously knew what Bill was responsible for. Yeah. So at one of these conventions, one of the a writer of they had these newsletters and stuff, these zines. It's, before the internet, before the internet. Zines. Sorry, not zines.
Zines.
Yeah, so they had fanzines and stuff.
Yeah.
And so one of the guys spoke to Bill and wrote an article about, Bill talking about the creation process and all that stuff. Bob Kane throws this huge fit, writes, I am and will always be the sole creator of Batman. Bill Kane's a liar. I keep doing this. Bill Finger's a liar. He just, kind of calls him out. If he did create Batman, wouldn't his name be on the byline with me? Well, of course it's not, because your deal has it to where there's a lot of stuff like that. There's also a quote later in Bob Kane's book where it's Bill, there's a quote from his autobiography that says, Bill never got the credit he deserved. Well, that's because you didn't let him get it.
Yeah.
Like it's weird in a sense there.
Yeah.
But
create your own market and then gripe about it.
And a weird thing, like Bill Finger even wrote for the Batman television show with Adam West. And there's this really just kind of heartbreaking story in a sense where I can't remember the guy that he's writing with, Sal. I don't remember the other writer's name, but it was his writing partner. They wrote the episode together.
Gotcha.
And they're about to turn it in. And Bill goes, "Hey, can I ask you something?" Sal's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Just this once, do you think I could have the top line and billing?"
Oh, that's so sad.
It is. And he was like, "Dude," he was like, "No problem at all."
Yeah.
Because this guy was like an actual human being. He was like, "Yeah, no, that's cool." And he said that's
totally sad, man.
It is. But he said that Bill had just a black and white TV set at home.
Yeah.
So he called him over. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch it on color at my house?"
Oh my God.
Right? Exactly.
Wow.
Well, then the TV, I can't remember who it was, ABC. I guess ABC set up like a viewing room that they use for like, the focus groups there.
Sure.
But they set it up to watch it and they let Bill and Sal come and watch it. And he said that title card comes up at the beginning. It's story by Bill Finger. And he goes like, he kind of teared up a little.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So it's an interesting story. I'm not going to ruin.
That's crazy, man.
But it's a very interesting story.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
About
Absolutely.
a man who did so much for a character and got no recognition of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Died essentially just alone in his apartment with just static on his TV. Like,
we hope you've enjoyed this very special episode.
Sorry. But it's a really,
Heroes.
I didn't mean to get so bad. Let's get into something a little more lighthearted. I was just telling, Batman and Bill is really good.
Yeah. No, that sounds cool. I'll watch it. I need something to watch at 3 a.m.
There you go. So let's get into our character today.
Do you sleep?
Not well.
Yeah, really, right?
No.
Do you think anybody does?
There's got to be somebody somewhere out there.
Do you think anybody sleeps really well? Well, let me tell you about purple mattresses. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, if we do that,
that would be fantastic.
Do they give us money?
If it was just like go right into a commercial?
Dude, that would be flawless.
Smooth
if we could do
as
that
shit,
and then just pick right back. Why don't people do that, by the way?
I don't know, but they need to.
They need to.
Yeah.
Like, I understand. We get all the
you work it
ads
into your,
all the time about like, video contains paid advertisement.
You work it right into
If
it.
you're going to do it, just work it into it and be,
I sleep for shit, and that's why I ask, because I really am up a lot watching just garbage.
Yes, no, I'll do this, or I don't get tired, and I'll read through the garbage.
The main problem is that I'm here a lot, right? In the studio a lot, and
I can kind of relate to how you're feeling. I mean, not right now, but back in the day, I know.
I get
what
it.
you're talking about.
Yeah, it's where you live, basically. Yep. Yeah. And my problem is, like, I take about 2 hours to decompress once I get home, I'm the same. I need some me time. And if I get home at 9 o'clock, well, shit, my wife's ready to go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock. And that's great. I'll go in there. Ain't no way I'm staying.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to get up and watch TV.
No, I'm the exact same way.
So last night, and I don't eat well either. And so.
Like just enough or just like healthy enough?
I miss it here and then there and,
I get you.
So, like, for instance, supper tonight. I don't know, I mean, it'll be something when I get home kind of thing. So I'm sitting there last night and I take Ambien, right, to go to sleep.
Oh, did you have?
I woke up in my chair covered in cheese dip last night. It was all over me. And I literally looked down and I was like, what the hell?
You didn't remember it at all?
I did. Well, I remember getting the cheese dip.
Okay.
Because I'm very quiet about things.
You don't want to wake anybody up? I don't
want to wake her up. And so I heated up the cheese. I don't even know how I heated up the cheese dip. I guess I put it in the microwave. I don't know. I can't remember that part. Right.
Hopefully you didn't bake it.
When the Ambien kicks in, there ain't no going back. Right.
See, I will not take anything with a sleep aid in it. I'm super weird. It's like, it's a weird anxiety thing I have. I don't like it. So
two Tylenol PM and an Ambien, please.
Dude.
Yeah. And then it used to be maybe some wine on top of that, or whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah. Knock me the hell out.
Yeah.
And then I gripe about not being able to sleep well. Gee, I wonder why. But anyway, purple mattresses.
Oh man! The next time you go out on a drunken bender and you want to pass out on something soft, purple mattress.
They are kind of. I've always wanted one. By the way,
they look. Cool.
They got that weird grid in them. Yeah,
I've seen a purple pillow. Like
really?
I tested that. It was soft.
Yeah,
that's all I can tell you. Purple
there you go.
Pillows.
Purple pillows. Buy one. It's soft.
Oh man, we're off the rails, and I don't mind. So
and Coca-Cola.
Well, no, you know what I've wanted to do because I've heard this on. This is so nerdy. But because I am a wrestling fan and I've heard Stone Cold Steve Austin do this before on his podcast, open one up for the working man. Yeah. There we go. So, don't know why I always wanted to do that. But let's get into Mr. Justice. We're all over the place.
Covered in cheese dip. My chair was crusty this morning. I had to clean it.
I just want a shirt that says covered in
cheese dip. All right, go for it, man.
All right, Mr. Justice. And he appeared for MLJ Comics, which eventually becomes Archie Comics.
Yeah.
Early 40s. Everybody's in the rush to find the next biggest thing with Superman, Batman. So you have a lot of comics that kind of last for, 15, 20, 30 appearances.
Sure. They're trying things out.
Yeah, exactly.
They're throwing stuff at the wall.
Some stuff, there's some that I'm going to get to eventually that I had. I had something else planned.
It's kind of like now, honestly,
very
with
much.
all the superhero stuff.
It is, very much. But I had a different character or a group of characters picked out before I came across this. And like, for instance, one was, what was his name? Craig Carter and his magic ring. Only lasted 2 issues. Here's what I'll tell you. His ring can summon gods like Zeus.
Neat.
Like, we'll get to Craig Carter eventually.
Okay.
Only two issues. Or then there was a woman called, I was going to do a twofer with Craig Carter and
I thought that was her name.
Miss Fairplay or Lady Fairplay.
Lady Fairplay.
Who was described as the goddess of chastisement. Sorry. The goddess of chastisement.
Those are 2 very different things you just said.
Exactly.
Huh.
Because, so she's really good at chastising.
She just bitches at people? That's what she does?
That's
her
what it sounds like. I didn't read the stories because it looks like she was punching people. But, and then...
correct, pop.
And then I was reading one night. I have a great just collection of books that are called like the League of Forgettable Superheroes. And
cool.
And it's these little just like John Morris, not to be confused with the John Morris here in our area.
Right.
That was absolutely a great guy.
Is he really?
Love him. Yeah. I would like to say I consider him a friend. Hopefully he considers me too.
Really?
Yeah, really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but a different John Morris, because it's a very popular name, has made a collection, and it's of just some of the most ridiculous heroes and villains. There's even one on sidekicks. And then I can't remember the woman's name, but it's part of the collection. There's a book of just early super heroines that I'm going to read through too. But it's all just like profiles of these.
That's cool.
And so I'm reading through it one night.
So it's kind of like the Marvel thing that you brought in last week.
Except
but
it's for us. They just go find ridiculous stuff.
That's cool.
And there's still stuff that aren't in there that I'm able to come across.
Yeah.
I read about one of the villains, and then in reading about the villain, came across the character, and I read the origin, and I was obvious to me that we needed to do Mr. Justice today.
Mr. Justice.
So, Mr. Justice, just like anybody, has an absolutely fantastic origin. We're basically told, I'll just read this intro for you.
Mm-hmm.
Resting on the boundary line between Scotland and England stands the ancient castle of Solway Firth, erected in the year 1540. The medieval fortress has withstood countless scores of attacks. Now, in the year 1940, a new and terrible enemy hurls down tons of thunderous destruction, but in releasing their rack loads of death, the invaders are about to release from death the most bewildering, the most incredible, the most mysterious man the earth has ever known.
That sentence is the most mysterious thing I've ever known.
So we come to find out that there's a tour being given at this castle as German planes, because that's who the enemy is.
Sure.
It's World War II.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are flying overhead. They hear the sirens be like. They hear the sirens, the all clear sirens go
hear
off.
That on the History Channel a lot.
Cool. Yeah.
They heard the sirens be like, wee woo, wee woo.
But the tour guide just keeps giving.
I don't know why that makes me laugh.
He just keeps giving his tour, where we're then told as he's giving the tour during the Rogers Rebellion.
Wait. I'm sorry. I got lost up in the wee
You're
woo.
fine. Okay.
What?
So these planes
they're giving
are
a
bombing
tour of what?
this castle, the
Oh, okay.
Solway Firth
Got it.
Castle.
Got it.
Erected in 1540.
Yeah, so was I.
Okay. Well, then it's been a while. You might want to go see your doctor. But so it's a tour going on.
Yeah. Okay.
He then says the tour guide tells them during the Rogers Rebellion,
Yeah.
the conspirators brought young James here, heir to the throne of England.
Gross.
On a day like this, you almost see them. And we're told a story of how Prince James is apparently supposed to be the new king of England. And these group of conspirators lead him. All we know is it was exactly 200 years ago this very year. So in 1740, and you just see a guy go, "You shall be safe here, your royal highness." And he's like pointing towards a room.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, just walks in. And the very next panel,
Is there
he just
lightning?
goes, "Hawks, Macduff, this is treachery." They just start killing him. We don't
Hawks
know why.
McDuff.
He says, "Hawks, Macduff, this is treachery."
Hawks McDuff.
Don't know if it's an exclamation.
I'm going to start using that.
Well, here's the thing.
Hawks McDuff, get out of
Then,
there.
Apparently, they rejoice. It goes, "Prince James is dead. Long live Prince Richard."
Oh,
which
thank
I
God.
don't remember anybody. Usually, it's over kings, not princes. But they're
that's weird,
trying
right?
to.
They
Don't
just
worry,
wanna-
I looked this up. I don't think this is based off anything real. This is all just for the story. I mean, like the
Prince Richard.
But it says, but legend has it, his spirit arose from his body and strangled the men who murdered him.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So Prince, it's kind of convoluted at first.
He
So-
came out of a cigar and then he killed somebody.
Yeah, that's Nightmare.
Oh, sorry.
So Prince James is killed by conspirators, immediately comes back to life as a ghost and strangles those conspirators.
Sure.
And the tour guide said, and he's forever trapped here in this castle.
Well,
His
yeah.
spirit is, right? Well,
Well, he can strangle people as a ghost, but he can't get out.
yep.
Okay.
Because he's bonded.
I
Had
don't
Prince
understand them
James
either way.
lived, he would have been ruler of the greatest empire in the history of the world.
Sure.
But his spirit still lives on within these very walls. The story has it that someday the castle will be destroyed and the spirit of Prince James will return to Earth once again.
Wait,
We're
is this castle not
foreshadowing
on
here.
Earth?
It is.
Okay.
Sometime later, basically, the Home Security Ministry meeting in London decides, it is decided then that in order to preserve the castle of Solway Firth, it shall be dismantled and sent to a sanctuary in America.
So they're going to move the castle
Brick
to the
by
U.S.
brick, they decide to move this castle via U-boat to the U.S.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Wow. Okay.
Prince James still
Sure.
stuck in there.
Why are they moving it to the
Germans-
U.S.? Oh, because they're being attacked because it's
the
World War II.
Germans,
Got it. Okay. I get it now.
The Germans see that this ship, I'm sorry, it's not on a U-boat. The Germans see it leaving on this ship and a German
Right.
U-boat sinks it.
Right.
And so with it, here's the thing is it looks like it's hitting the center and the ship just kind of capsizes.
Did the whole friggin' castle fit on this boat?
Apparently so, which I would think would weigh down the boat too.
I would think so too.
But it's stone by stone, brick by brick. It sinks, which to me would be like now the castle's just sitting at the bottom of the ocean
Yeah.
because everything's still like the brick weren't destroyed and everything. But that's good enough for the story writers.
So this dude,
because the spirit of the martyred Prince James returns to the world and he goes, "Free, I'm free."
why is he
He's
look
a
like
ghost.
He looks like Ghost Batman all
That's
of a
the
sudden.
thing. I never
He
got
looks like
this.
Space Ghost.
So that guy right there in red
Yeah.
is Prince James.
Okay.
When we see his ghost, he looks like that.
Yeah.
Why?
He looks like the Phantom with
So
moth wings.
it's believed that this is MLJ's attempt at creating like the Spectre in DC or Spectre in DC. It's this. Or not Spectre,
the Shadow.
not
the-
Shadow.
No,
It's one of those like that. Maybe it is Spectre.
Shoot, what was the one that Billy Zane was in?
No, that's the Phantom.
The Phantom.
Yeah,
It's kind of
he
that
looks
same
like that.
thing, right?
I like the way he looks. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, he's cool looking.
As-
he looks
as
like a
his spirit
Misfits
form,
album. Is
he
what he looks
does.
like.
Oh, he for sure looks like
he
a
looks
Misfits
like
album.
the cover of a Misfits album.
But so them sinking this castle to the bottom of the ocean frees Prince James.
I don't understand why when they took the castle apart, he wasn't freed.
I don't get that either. Well, and so you would think then, oh, the castle has to be destroyed. Well, it's sinking to the bottom doesn't count as being
Yeah.
destroyed.
Huh.
Makes no sense.
Okay. All right.
He basically just shows up and here's, where is this at? Oh, okay.
So
So there's another story. Some of this doesn't really
Do
matter.
these stories take place in the U.S.?
They all take place in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So that's the thing. So since he was already being like shipped over there,
Yeah.
he just appears as a spirit and kind of hovers
Makes
over
total sense.
New York is where he
Sure.
winds up at.
Oh,
It's
boy.
the closest
What do you
place. And he realizes that there's people down here. I could tell you about like
know? Nobody's ever in Walla Walla, Washington.
No, they're
or
not.
Phoenix,
or Aberdeen
Arizona.
for that much. Oh, I thought we were just talking about places in Washington.
No.
There's like a story that happens is basically like some rich dude's daughter, the mayor's daughter, whoever Bruce Piddle is. I don't remember.
Bruce Piddle.
Terrible name.
Mm.
But
I had to go there to get my vasectomy at the Bruce Piddle.
at the Bruce Piddle.
Yep.
These like mobsters kind of like knock out Bruce Piddle's chauffeur that's supposed to take his daughter somewhere.
Yeah.
And they pose as her chauffeur. I'm just kind of telling you this as a backstory. It really doesn't matter.
Wait, what was the exclamation that he said earlier? Hawks.
Hawks McGuff.
Hawks McGuff. I've been knocked out.
Hawks McGuff. This is treachery. I feel like the Knights Who Say Knit when I did that.
Yeah. No kidding.
I'm not even going to spend time on that part. Basically, this dude's daughter's kidnapped. That's going to be the crime that's happening in the background. I'm going to focus on Mr. Justice here.
Mr. Justice.
So Mr. Justice decides to. I'm going to read this. It's public domain. So, meanwhile, down on the New York waterfront, after this woman is kidnapped, Bruce Piddle's daughter.
Yeah.
Spirit's just like floating. He's just came up through like by
and Bruce
where the port
Piddle's
is.
just a rich guy, or
I'm
he's the
assuming
mayor,
he's just a
or
rich
he's
guy,
the whatever.
mayor or something.
Sure, okay.
But
It's one of the 1%.
But Prince James says, methinks I should revert to some more earthly form. My appearance might frighten some good citizen. That's right. He is a spirit who can turn himself into a human.
Wow.
So he just
cool
amazingly,
power.
The spirit of Prince James begins to change little by little. Little by little, he undergoes a metamorphosis, and it shows him change back into his old self.
Yeah, that's not going to scare anybody.
Yeah, and so he goes
Dude
until he
dressed like a
assumes the
knight.
shape of a mortal man. And it shows him like walking through, and he notices that everybody's staring at him.
Yeah. Well, no shit.
He looks in the mirror and goes, no, little wonder they stare. I must divest myself of these ancient garbs and don some modern dress.
Might want to take some speaking classes.
In one panel, he has been able to just be like, why are they staring at me? It's because I'm not dressed like them.
Yeah,
Boom. He gets it. Expect there to be a lot of conclusions jumped to through. I don't know.
I don't know, man. You freaked me out a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Stared through the window.
But expect giant just leaps of just jumping to conclusions.
Yeah,
here.
no, yeah. I'm assuming
He bumps into a guy who's been out having fun. He's carried a bottle with 3 X's on the side of it.
Sure.
So that's some good
He's got some
stuff.
hooch.
Yeah, he does. And he's obviously drunk.
Hawks
But
McGuff.
he bumps into Prince James and tells him, man, I like your duds. And he's like, all right, we can change then.
So he takes his
So he
clothes.
goes over into just
Switches
this
clothes
alleyway
with the drunk.
and they change clothes.
That's great.
And the drunk like comes out dancing in his new stuff, and he's just like, "Just wait till my girl sees this." Woo! He goes, "Woohoo!" I think the guy was daffy for parting with this get up. Woohoo!
He was daffy.
Daffy.
All right.
My favorite quote from this issue though was, "I must." This is Prince James talking again now. I must remember these garments are called duds, and a stranger's name is always Bud. What a peculiar tongue these moderns speak.
Because he met one friggin' guy.
Don't worry though.
This is the way it always is.
Do you think we're ever gonna like have stories about him learning stuff? No, he speaks perfect English.
Sure.
From here on out, like it's nothing. Not to mention, like I assume, obviously, he spoke some sort of, if it's 1740 Scotland, some sort of English to begin with. But it was, definitely a different tone in the way it's that old Shakespeare type.
Yeah.
So
Hawks McGuff.
That's a little bit later, I guess. Hawks McGuff, but he picks it up fine.
Is that a Shakespearean thing? Do people say Hawks McGuff?
No, I've never heard that before.
I've never heard that either.
Should I have Googled that?
No.
Oh, but I'm glad I brought this up because here's the thing. Is the castle never shows up again, so I need to bring this up while we still have the castle in mind.
Sure.
So I'm looking through.
I was really thinking about the castle.
Well, here's what I love. So I'm just looking through stuff, and somebody posted discrepancies about the castle.
No shit.
Yes. And I just want to read the discrepancies because I thought it was absolutely great. So it says in Blue Ribbon comic number 9, which is the one we're in. That's what he appears in.
Yeah, sure.
It's clearly stated by the tour guide that the murder of Prince James occurred exactly 200 years before the day of the tour, making his death around 1740. In Blue Ribbon's comics number 22, the date is specifically listed as 1040. That's 700 years difference, though.
Sure, that's a big one.
So he goes, since the time is associated with the Rogers Rebellion, it is presumed that the uprising occurred around the time of the Jacobite Rising of 1746. In the year, or if the 1040 year is accurate, it would frame it around the time of the ascension to the throne of Edward the Confessor in 1042. Judging from the armor style in the stories, it seems that 1040 is more likely date. Yet the history of Scotland did not have a great deal of large castles or castle properties in the 11th century. It seems likely that the property possessed a military history and a residency, yet the castle itself was not constructed until 1540. This would align the circa 1740 rebellion was the true date, and the 1040 seems to be an error.
Okay, Zach, there's 2 things I got to tell you. One, mothers of our country, start kicking your kids out of their house when they turn 18. Number 2, all people that are in power that can make this decision, we got to get that minimum wage raised because these kids have nothing to do. God, the Rogers
I read
Rebellion.
That and I loved that.
Oh my God.
Edward the Confessor. Oh man.
So you see, Edward the Confessor was.
You kind of have a comic book guy from Simpsons.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
He's almost hit by one car.
I can see the guy.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. I can't do. He's almost hit by the limousine that has Bruce Pittle's daughter.
Sure.
As he takes his mortal form, walking out of an alley where he just changed clothes with a drunkard.
Those are great sentences.
He is then hit by the cop car, which is the second car. First car, and they think, "Oh no, we killed him," and he just pops back up.
Well, he is a specter.
Yeah, that's true. And they're like, "Look, he's alive. What kind of gag is this?" They don't believe him.
What kind of gag?
They decide to arrest him because he stopped the cops from chasing the bad guys.
I must remember, all jokes are called gags.
There's a lot of that too. Like he will say, "Oh, I've got enough to arrest you," but he's not a cop at all. Like he citizens arrest everybody.
Wait, the guy, the spirit,
our hero,
he's wanting to arrest people.
Our hero will later be like, "I have enough to arrest," but he can't
because he ran into a cop. That's all he knows.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But so they
he's
arrest
like a
him.
Freaking sponge.
They arrest him for like creating a distraction while they're chasing down these people.
Sure.
And he decides, nope, this is taking too long, and he turns us to a spirit form, leaves his body, and directs them to follow him. But as you can see, he just kind of passes out in the back.
I love how he's a spooky ghost too.
It's true.
Like, he's a super spooky
when
ghost.
He's in spirit form, his human body, I guess, just lays there. Because he's just
so he leaves his human form.
His human body, and as you can see where they drew it, he's passed out in the back of the cop car.
Oh. That's the stupidest power ever.
So,
wow, that's awful.
He leads them, but they notice.
Yep, screw this.
They notice that he in the back. They're like, "Hey, wake up! I think this guy's dead." And he's like, "Oh, we really must have smacked him.
Oh no,
probably died of internal injuries." Is what they're thinking.
Well, dump him in the ditch.
But then Prince James decides to re-enter his mortal body, and he just goes, "We're almost there." Like he just wakes up. That's the first thing he says. Like, "We're almost there."
Wait, where did he go?
He's leading them.
But I'm saying
he knows where the bad guy's hideout is.
But I'm saying he left his body
to lead them in his specter form.
So the cops are just like, "Hey, let's follow this ghost."
That's as good a lead as we got.
That is so weird.
Okay. But then he goes back to his human body and be like, 40s. "Hey, I'm alive," and then disappears again.
"Hey, I'm alive. Have you tried Pepsodent?"
So basically, Spirit shows up, and here's the thing: is he can actually like grab people and attack them.
Yeah.
So
this is very loosely formed.
Oh, here. There's not a lot of like. I'm just giving you his backstory. I'm focusing on the high points from there because there's a lot. It's very thinly held together.
Yeah.
But he is able to basically steal or get the woman back the lady that was kidnapped from these evil men. He defeats the evil men. By the time the cops arrive and they run in and they go, come on, let's go in and pick up what's left of them. And they go, well, Mr. Justice sure caught up with you that time, is what Bruce Pittle's daughter says to the crooks.
So she knows who he is.
No. She says like, oh, Mr. Justice just in general.
Oh, I see.
And Prince James goes,
that makes sense.
That's it. That's what I'll call myself, Mr. Justice.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's as good as any, I guess.
From this point forward, he is never called anything other than Mr. Justice again. And I don't mean just like in references. I mean like even when he talks to other people in his mortal form, they just call him Mr. Justice.
Wow. Okay.
So that is his
maybe
name.
Maybe he gets a name tag.
Yeah, it just says Mr. Justice. The second story we're introduced, it has like these bank robbers who are able to steal stuff. They've invented a ray that causes people to disappear.
Can I ask you about something that's on the front of that comic, though?
Is it Richie the Amazing Boy and then Rangatang the Wonder Dog?
Rangatang is the one that I was really focusing on.
Richie is actually the sidekick of Rangatang.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
So here's how it works out. I looked into it too, just because I figured you might ask.
Rangatang the Wonder Dog. Come on.
So there's a detective. I don't remember the detective's name. And Rangatang is the detective's dog.
Okay.
And they solve crimes together. And Richie the Amazing Boy is an actor on one show, but then he joins them and like solves crimes too.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So yeah. There you go.
Okay.
See,
Thank you.
I got to prepare
I
myself
appreciate
for
that. Yeah,
questions.
because I mean, Rangatang is wonderful.
It's great.
Yeah, it's a great name.
So they have this laser that basically when it hits people, it causes them to disappear. It doesn't affect Mr. Justice though, because he's immortal, but he does dive into
well,
a
he's
woman.
not really immortal if he's dead.
No,
right?
they call him immortal the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Like he can't be like
they don't understand how that word works.
He's on the spirit plane, like he's whatever kind of. But we are introduced
I'm really
to the
excited
mayor's
about you
daughter.
getting to this next one because he's fighting the devil.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
These,
All right, go
these
ahead.
are where it gets
I'm
good.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. We're introduced to like the mayor and the mayor's daughter. I think is named Pat. I can't remember.
Sure, Pat.
And these characters don't matter. I love that he dives to like push her out of the way of this death ray, and it looks like he's clocked her in the face.
It does look like he clocked her in the face.
Yeah. So Mr. Justice dives because this ray, when it hits people, causes them to disappear. He dives to like push her out of the way.
It just makes them disappear.
Well, we don't know where they go. Like,
okay.
So, essentially, though, what happens in that one is, so he saves Pat, and that's when Pat is introduced to her dad, who is the mayor. So Mr. Justice is best friends with the mayor's daughter.
Okay.
That's how he's always involved in a lot of these stuff, because the mayor, and apparently mayor was big deal back then.
Yeah.
Like, because the mayor knows everything. The mayor can tell the cops to go do stuff.
And that is a big deal in these comics. It seems to be like mayor, governor, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Governor makes sense, though.
This is when we trusted our elected officials.
I guess in this instance, at least, it is mayor of New York. So
That's
it's
true.
a bigger
That's
city.
a big one, yeah.
If you even though, I say that, the city's not mentioned again after he appeared on New York
If you get to be New York mayor, your hair will melt at some point.
Oh, yeah. And just leave brown streaks on the
that,
side of your face. Yeah. Okay. Does not look good. But basically, Mr. Justice does end up saving the day. Again, it's not.
I love these sum ups that you do at the end. You're like, yeah, and then he does this thing and he punches this girl.
This one was one of my favorites.
Bang-a-rang comes out.
Again, I told you I saved some of my favorites because of ridiculousness.
It's great art, by the way.
Oh, it's
just beautiful stuff. Yeah.
Art. I love. You know what I haven't done, and I don't want to bash him too much.
Talk about the artist,
because Joe Blair does all the stories for it. But obviously, I feel like I need to credit.
He's way dead.
I know, but still, it says S. Cooper.
Sure,
who was the artist for it? S. Cooper's the artist. I'm sure I could look it up. I have it up actually.
Oh, you're good.
I need to give credit where credit is due on stuff, because the art, that is one of my favorite things about some of these books, and especially this. Like, Mr. Justice has a cool old school kind of look about him.
Very much so. Yeah.
So it is in that Phantom type. Like, so it's.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
I think it's cool looking. Yeah. He's got a very muscular crotch.
He does. I never noticed that. I love how Mike immediately focuses on the crotch.
Well, it's hard not to see from here. I mean,
the crotch region.
I'm just sitting here thinking, by the way, I need to ask you a question. This is something I've been thinking about since you started.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we always start with the origin, right? and maybe this is a really stupid idea.
Yeah.
But trademark, copyright. What if there's like a guy like Origin Man? All he is he goes through these origins over and over and over of just different types of turning into superheroes.
So like each
when
issue,
I say it out loud, it's terrible, but
it's funny if you can do it with like, you just have to rehash and add some of the weight, like some of these stories.
Yeah.
Oh no, that could
Origin
be hilarious.
Man.
It's like, or whatever his power. Yeah. Like whatever it is.
He's got a different power all the time.
He's got a different power all the time.
Yeah. This week he can punch
and that's
children
the thing too. Is
or
like
whatever.
and you can make it last then for however much you want it to.
Yeah.
You could explain it.
It's Origin Man.
We could.
Don't steal that.
Okay. Please don't. Or
Don't
if you
steal
do,
my terrible idea.
Or if you do, maybe name the characters after us.
There you go.
I'm trying
My
to
luck,
look
I'll
up.
be the mayor.
Make Mike the mayor. I kind of just want to call you Mayor Mike from now on. Then
Me and Rangatang are walking around the streets solving crimes very badly.
with Richie the Wonder
Richie
Boy.
the Wonder Boy,
All
who's
these
now
covers,
Richie the Wonder Man.
That's true. You'll notice too, once we get to the later ones here, is so Mr. Justice debuts in Blue Ribbon Comics number 9.
Right.
And a lot of these are just, they have weird names like that. It's just anthologies of different stories.
Sure.
So like MLJ at the time had one called Pep Comics and one called, I think I missed, they had an ad for it.
Now with more cocaine.
Maybe it's for the 4th one. There is an ad that I have here that kind of tells
this guy
all
looks like
the
a bat.
different. Oh yeah, no, this one's these last two are really good.
Yeah.
And
Look at this guy.
and
No,
ridiculousness.
the next one. The next one.
Yeah.
This guy's like a Swami, like he's like a Svengali kind of
He
character.
is a fortune teller.
That
We'll
was
get to
big in the 40s too.
It was.
Yeah.
So what they have here is, so they have like 4 different books at the time.
Ooh.
And so each book had like 2 headlining stars in them. So we have Blue Ribbon Comics, which is Rangatang the Wonder Dog with Richie.
I like how
the Amazing
Rangatang
Boy.
gets the
Gets
he's top billing.
He's so much bigger.
Rangatang.
And Mr. Justice. So that's the twofer that we have in Blue Ribbon.
Yeah.
Zip Comics had. Oh no, I'm saving Zip Comics for the last one.
Okay.
Pep Comics had The Shield with Dusty, which I almost did for 4th of July because he's a
Dusty.
patriotic character.
I remember the Shield. I've seen the Shield before.
And his sidekick is just named Dusty.
Dusty. Poor Dusty.
They share a comic, or the Pep Comics, with Danny in Wonderland.
Danny in Wonderland.
Yeah, it looks kind of Jack the Beanstalk-ish from the art. Again,
Serial masturbator, Danny in Wonderland.
Oh man. So it says 2 lead stories in each magazine. So they're pushing that you get 2 big name ones.
Sure.
In Top Notch Comics, it's the Black Hood.
2 lead stories from somebody you've never heard of.
It's the Black Hood and the Wizard with Roy the Superboy.
Richie the Wonder Lad and Roy the Superboy.
Here's my
Wait,
favorite.
Richie the what? The Wonder
Boy.
The Amazing Boy.
The Amazing Boy. Sorry. Here's
Richie
my
the
favorite.
Amazing Boy.
I didn't see this. I'm going to have to go back and make sure I read some Zip Comics, Mike, because my 2 lead stories, each magazine in Zip Comics, are Steel Sterline, Man of Steel.
Okay, that seems like a double.
Steel Sterline, Man of Steel, and
What is it? Steele?
SteelSterline.
Right.
Steel Sterline, Man of Steel.
But then it's Steel again.
STEL.
Why is it not STEELE for his name?
Nope.
That would make more sense,
Yeah,
right? Because you're using
his
it
name
twice.
is spelled like the metal.
Steel.
Steel Sterline, Man of Steel. And the other lead story is Dickie and the Magic Forest.
Sure. Dickie in the Magic Forest. Yep, that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the stories, let me get through
Sorry,
these
let me
here.
take back that serial masturbator thing and apply it to what did you say?
Dickie and the Magic
Dickie in
Forest.
the Magic Forest. Yeah.
So let me.
Whoa.
There is one where.
Dickie in the Magic Forest.
Some it's ridiculous. I gotta go read Zip Comics.
I
But
just need to read that one.
we're getting to it. So this was my favorite because we find out that there is this man. I'm gonna try to be able. So we find out that these goons, they're
like
Nazis.
goblins.
They're Nazis.
Oh yeah, sure.
They're bringing this coffin and this guy who obviously is a vampire. He's dressing up to America. He has a meeting with the mayor.
That's not that far fetched. The Nazis were big in the occult and all that
and
stuff.
he's from South America. Like
Wait, they're meeting the mayor?
The mayor about a trade deal, because we come to find out that this guy who is a vampire is actually the head of the country in South America where he's from.
Wait,
Here.
you're saying this like it makes sense.
Oh, no, I'm about to
The
explain.
mayor is meeting with a Nazi vampire.
Well, no, he's not a Nazi. He's what? They don't know he's a vampire.
Oh.
It says several days later in the United States, Carlos Ubello attends a special banquet in his honor at the Club Conga. Among those present are Mayor Clark, District Attorney Roy Winkler, and the mayor's daughter, Pat, who is escorted by Mr. Justice.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Justice is always there.
So
the
the spooky specter, he is going to a banquet
With a vampire.
with the mayor's daughter to meet a vampire.
And it goes,
Wonderful.
and now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the guest of the evening. This gentleman from friendly South
Uncle
America,
Sam.
from friendly South America, is here to conclude a trade agreement with the U.S., which will leave Nazi Germany out in the cold.
Okay.
So,
What are they trading?
just there, it doesn't.
Does
say.
it ever say?
So they're creating a South American trade
Sure.
agreement. We've come to find out that the two guys that are with him
Coconuts for
have
kids.
turned him into this.
Yeah.
They've turned him into a vampire to use him to be able, hear this, it's very intricate, to use him to be able to basically not do this trade deal with the mayor of New York, who was somehow able to make trade deals for the entire United States. So
Okay.
they just want him to be like, nope, we're not doing this trade deal. That's why they turned him into a vampire.
Well, that's the first thing you do.
To
You turn
control
a guy
him.
into a vampire to keep international trade from happening. Sure.
Yeah. And so
That makes total sense.
while they're there, he basically stands up and he's like, I don't have time to talk about the trade agreement right now. I want to dance from your daughter.
The vampire
The
says
vampire
that?
does.
Okay.
And so he goes to dance. And
When
about
you look
that
at this
time-
dude, you know he's a vampire.
You do.
By
You
the
do.
way.
Hundo P. But while he's dancing, while our vampire friend is dancing with Pat, you can see that Mr. Justice gets like multicolored
Yeah.
circles around us, and it says, as the dancers move across the floor, a strange light comes into the eyes of Mr. Justice.
Who's a ghost.
Watching the South American every second, he senses the presence of some evil force. Sounds like he's just racist.
Well,
So,
he's vampirist.
that's true. But after they dance,
This dude looks like a vampire, man. He's purple.
but after they get done dancing,
Look, he's got pointy ears.
after they get done dancing, here's the
Sometimes
best
you got to
part.
call a duck a duck.
Yeah. Our vampire goes, the lights have gone out. Why? And the mayor's daughter goes, oh, it's a dance they're putting on. Look.
Sure.
And you want to know what the dance they just so happen to be putting on? Two dancers start the Waltz of the Vampire. Have you ever heard of that? I
No.
haven't. So apparently there's a dance.
A lot of undulating.
And the vampire watching the dance of the vampires just makes him want blood because he's like,
Well, yeah.
yeah. Basically, though, he's about to bite into Pat, who's the mayor's daughter, the vampire's neck.
Sure.
When Mr. Justice, and she screams, help. When Mr. Justice goes, that's Pat. Good Lord, I've waited too long. Like he knows, oh, I should have gone in there.
And, it's not like there were any warning signs,
No, not at all.
And
so he darts over
like
there.
looking like a damn vampire.
So he darts over there and he's like, just a minute, Mr. Ubello. And as soon as Mr. Justice appears, the vampire suddenly changes into a werewolf and dashes out. Did you
Sure.
know vampires could turn into werewolves?
Well, if Twilight had taught me anything,
No,
it's that
they're
cannot.
too separate.
Yeah.
They can turn into bats. This one doesn't turn into a bat. He turns into a werewolf.
Well, he's a
And a massive
multifaceted-
werewolf at that.
Where's the? Oh my God! Yeah, he's huge.
So, but he does turn into a bat then eventually later and flies away, and the spirit flies after him.
So
'Cause
he's
a ghost.
he can be a vampire. He can be a bat. He
Or
can
a
be
werewolf.
a werewolf. Okay.
Realizing that he cannot elude the spirit, Ubello assumes a spirit form.
Oh, now he can turn into
So
a ghost.
now the vampire can also turn into a ghost.
Wow, this guy's multifaceted.
And it says the two powers, I just have to read this because this is part of the ridiculousness.
Yeah, sure.
The two powerful forces come to grips in the vastness of the sky with only the stars and planets to watch. They have flown all the way out into outer space, basically. That's what it's saying, right?
Yeah. Huh.
So we come to find out the muscular fingers of the vampire
The
close around the neck.
muscular fingers of the vampire.
He's about to bite Mr. Justice.
He can't. He's a ghost.
When Mr. Justice slowly begins to overpower his enemy. And then the vampire goes, I can't breathe, my throat. And then it says, the royal wraith transmits a powerful influence of his own into the monster. So now he can shoot lasers into his eye to make him not be a vampire anymore, I think.
This is too little too late.
And he doesn't turn. He turns from being purple to being green now. Oh. Right?
So he's a, what do you call those guys in the MCU that are all green guys?
The Skrulls.
Yeah, he's a Skrull.
Yep. And he goes, Ubello, look at me. You were not too far gone to be saved. Tell me who made you a vampire.
Love me, Ubello. Love me.
If we kill that person, your life will be reshaped.
Oh, that's true. Man, he's right about that. Yeah.
And so he tells him basically that he lives in South America. The king of, which by the way, kudos, I will say, to Blue Ribbon Comics back in 1940, predicting that a lot of Nazi detractors would somehow wind up in South America.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
I know that it's just for the story, but the Nazis have moved.
Well, because I'm thinking, how many vampires come out of South America?
That's true. So it says he lives in South America, the king of the vampires, they call him. That's right. It's a vampire king that he's about to fight.
Sure.
He's like, he was brought from Transylvania by Nazis who wanted to get me under their power. By making me a vampire, they knew the trade agreement with the United States would collapse.
This is so stupid. I want to know what they're trading.
Doesn't know. Nothing is told here.
It's bananas.
They go and kill
bananas and coffee.
Like they go and they fight the king of the vampires, and Mr. Justice is basically.
Wait, when you say they,
Ubello goes with them, but Ubello, because of the rule that vampires can't attack other vampires. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I kind of get that. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. They have where vampires can't attack other vampires.
Well, I got that from True Blood, I think. Or did they fight each other?
I thought they could fight.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
It's whatever.
I watched a lot of True Blood too. Either way, basically.
That's one that went off the rails real quick.
It did, especially towards the end. But Mr. Justice decides to defeat the king vampire. He's basically, the vampire king has knocked out Mr. Justice and he's headed to his coffin to sleep because it's about to be dawn.
Well, he's tired.
Didn't close the drapes. Mr. Justice just grabs and holds them as the light raises and he just turns to dust.
Oh, no.
That's the battle with the king vampire.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so
2
good.
pages. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he just fades away. And then Ubello turns back into a regular, normal-looking man.
Oh, cool.
Here's the best part of this for me.
You're telling a good story when one of your panels is just text.
And that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah. Okay.
So he goes, come with me. I'll explain everything to you as we go. We've got to get you back to North America as fast as we can.
Got to get those bananas traded.
For this trade agreement. Note. That's what it starts off with, too.
Note, dear reader.
Note, although it's just dawn over South America, it is still dark in North America due to the 3-hour difference in time. Furthermore, time in the spirit world is a negligible... Hold on. Furthermore, time in the spirit world is a negligible factor. It has been only a matter of a few minutes since Mr. Justice began his strange adventure with Carlos Ubello.
Okay.
Here's the thing. It's effing lies, Mike, because he had to wait for dawn to happen.
I totally get why this dude in his basement wrote this whole thing about the time and all that. This is why.
Yes, because it's not great.
They literally asked for it.
So he comes back. The trade deal's fine. Oh, we do find out also.
Oh, thank God.
The ridiculousness of this too. So Mr. Justice is able to find out the 2 guys that are there that are kind of the cronies that he needs to take out. So there's another note. A page after one note, there's other notes.
Gross.
Mr. Justice shows up to fight these bad guys and he goes, why are you running? Oh, no. One of the bad guys says, why are we running? Have you forgotten our gold knives? They will kill a ghost. Hurry, here he comes.
What the?
Yep.
Gold knives?
Note. Only knives fashioned of pure gold, taken at the stroke of midnight from the tomb of the Egyptian king Akhman II, are capable of killing beings of the spirit world. So they're like, no, everybody's going to go out and buy gold knives thinking they can kill ghosts. We better specify.
Yeah.
He ends up taking him out. He doesn't get stabbed by the gold knife, and the trade deal just happens. Before we get into
gold knives,
before we wrap up with the last couple stories, I think that it's a perfect time for us to go ahead and take a break ourselves.
Yeah, it is.
Hear a word from our sponsors.
Purple mattresses.
who will not make you have to fashion a gold knife at this stroke of midnight in some old Egyptian tomb. All right, let's go ahead and get to the story that Mike was most excited about.
Bang-a-tang.
Which also
Rang-a-bang.
we'll notice a lot on on the covers here that they don't necessarily reflect what's going on.
No, they don't.
Because like that's the first time I think we've ever seen his actual eyes.
Yeah.
But they're all really...
he's got a very spooky black and white face with his hands like, ooh.
Yeah, and he's being like, there's a monster with an eye on his forehead holding a girl, and another monster who's wearing like a dog skin as like a cape, but yet he has two other dogs that are like growling and barking at him and shooting at him with a Tommy gun. There's a lot going on.
That's cool.
But let's go ahead and
wish I lived in a world where people use Tommy guns. Look, he's fighting the Nugget Boys. Or something. Boys? What are those?
They're
they look
spirits.
like the Fry Guys from McDonald's.
So it says
Nugget Boys.
How would you say R-I-A-L-B? Realb?
Realb.
Realb?
Realb.
That is our fortune teller's name then. Realb conducts a seance with Paul Ventresco, a politician, and Wendy Wilson, a debutante.
Oh,
but horror invades the spirit room and death takes over the crystal ball.
Wait a minute.
As Mr. Justice encounters the weirdest enemies of his career.
You're doing a seance and then you're weirded out when death enters the room or spirits or whatever. Yeah. Well, so, I didn't expect this.
Basically, this creature just kind of shows up, like the spirit, and he points at the girl there and he's like, this is hilarious to me. He goes, he. I guess it's a witch.
I love that.
Kind of, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So should I keep that voice
good.
up?
I love that voice, yeah.
So thou art descendants of my ancient family. Is that better?
That's fantastic.
I swore no woman of our kin would ever wear painted lips.
What's the opposite of an erection?
An inside boner. So... is it an unrection?
It's a entered or something. Yeah. Man. Unerect.
But so basically, because this woman is wearing lipstick, she goes, "Now you shall die. You are an evil woman."
Oh.
And then
harlot.
The spirit honestly chokes her to death.
Oh, great.
For having lipstick on.
Oh, wow. She is a spooky spirit too. Yeah. She's an evil witchy looking spirit.
The spirit chokes this debutante to death because she, wore lipstick.
Well, she's a debutante.
Yep.
They're making tons of them.
But then, here's what I don't get, because Ventresco, the politician, goes, the girl is dead. Realb, how did you get here? Or how'd you get that ghost in here? I'm changing words that they use.
Sure.
The cops will have you on the hot squat for that.
Hot squat?
Or for this. We'll have you on the hot squat for this, which just sounds like really like your stomach is causing you pain if you're on the hot squats.
Yeah. I got the hot squats.
Well, Realb says, "Mercy, no, it's a mystery to me. I've never summoned spirits before. I was just a fake until just now."
Oh.
So he doesn't know.
Poor guy.
Ventresco just tells him, "Now listen,
the jig is up.
I'll protect you. Get rid of the girl's body, but you got to do what I tell you." So then we see.
Hey, just as a side note, anytime anybody tells you I'll protect you from this dead body, you should go the other way. Yeah,
exactly. So then we see like a collage of like different
headlines
where it's like things are happening at these seances.
This is where the Svengali type guy is looking over a crystal ball, and you see all the headlines coming around
and
him.
It shows like all these monsters or spirits, I guess, attacking people.
Yeah.
So they're having these seances and these spirits appear and are attacking people. So they decide, here's what was weird. Hold on, where's this one?
You ever been to a seance?
No.
Me neither.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'd go.
It makes me think of, what's that Nicole Kidman movie where
the kids. The one where she's dead the whole time or whatever?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. That's every movie she's ever been in.
They're the ghost.
She's dead the whole time.
That's not true.
Every movie.
That's not true. I'll think of one right now. She wasn't in Days of Thunder.
Nope.
What about the one where they were from Ireland? She died in that one?
Oh, she's dead. Yeah.
Oh, dang it.
She's dead the whole time.
She does die as Aquaman's dad. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find one. There is a Nicole Kidman movie that I can think of, but she's not dead in.
She's dead in all of them.
I'm having a hard time thinking of Nicole Kidman movies.
That's what I'm saying.
Was she in a Batman? She wasn't in a Batman.
She was dead.
Wait, was she in a Batman? She was in a Batman.
Was she?
Who's Val Kilmer's love interest?
Val Kilmer?
No, it might not. It's not Nicole Kidman. I'm talking crazy, but I think she was in there. But now I don't remember who.
He is the saddest in Top Gun, by the way. I mean, God bless him. I'm glad he did it and all that stuff. But man, that's rough.
Yeah,
poor guy.
Poor guy indeed. Let's see. Nicole Kidman is the love interest in that.
Yeah, but she was dead the whole time.
No, she's not. She doesn't die. She's Dr. Chase. What is it? Dr. Chase?
Dr. Chase, dead lady.
I don't know.
What's her last name? Dead lady.
I don't remember. She might die. I don't remember now. It's been forever since I watched it. So
she's dead and everything.
Back to this. So these creatures are showing up. The mayor decides to have a seance. He's like, now, my friends, we shall summon your departed ancestors. Mr. Justice decides to just stroll in. And he's like, sit down. Riab is ready to start the seance. Like, he shows up late.
Sure.
Well, while he's there, it says Mr. Justice. Again, the rainbow-colored circles around his face.
Oh, yeah, he's getting that feeling.
It's his evil sense.
Getting that special feeling.
Mr. Justice senses the approach of a supernatural being from the other world.
Ghost boner.
And it says, outside the dimly lighted room, a figure begins to materialize, and it's like a spirit. Mm-hmm. And Mr. Justice shows up and goes, it says, but before the creature can come any closer, the spirit of Mr. Justice meets him.
Oh.
And he goes, back where you came from. And he punches him, and he goes, and see that you stay there, and leaves. Spirit shows up, beats the piss out of Spirit.
Well,
tells him to stay there.
Spirit on spirit action there.
That's true.
Yeah, sure.
And then Riab
that makes more sense than him punching real people.
Yeah, Riab goes, turn up the lights. I guess conditions are not favorable.
Oh.
Like, Riab's like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So the spirit comes and says, this is where I was telling you, or Mr. Justice goes, I came here to arrest you for being a fake, but you're not. How do you communicate with the dead? You can't arrest anybody, Mr. Justice. And he goes,
especially for that.
Yeah. And then Riab goes, this is my professional secret. And Ventresco says, you better scram, buddy, before you get too nosy. Well, they leave. He goes back to tell the mayor and the, not prime minister, the district attorney that, the guy calling the spirits is real. They think that he's just lying and sticking up for him.
Sure.
So they send the cops after Ventresco and Riab, and they realize that the gig is up. So what they're going to do is they're going to kidnap the mayor's daughter. Apparently,
God dang it, the mayor's daughter goes through a lot.
There was a scandal about the Mayor Clark's brother several years ago. When he died, they're going to have a seance to get all the,
the dirt,
dirt on that, and then they'll hold it over him.
Is this Pat again?
Yeah, Pat's getting kidnapped again.
Okay. Poor
Pat's
Pat.
just basically a vehicle to get kidnapped. She doesn't have much development.
She's a damsel in distress.
That's it. But so they kidnap the daughter, and they have a seance. And at the seance, the spirit appears of the mayor's brother.
Sure.
And it says, someone has summoned me back to the world of the mortals. I shall work a horrible vengeance. And so this spirit shows up.
I would too if somebody got me to come back.
Ah, Pat. It is Pat, the daughter of my despised brother. He wouldn't help me when he knew I had stolen the city's bonds. Only in death could I escape the humiliation of a trial. But now I shall kill you to avenge myself. So this uncle's going to kill his niece. It's weird just because
why
his brother didn't help him when he stole city bonds, I guess.
Why do bad guys always give up their plot?
I don't know. Either way, basically, Mr. Justice shows up, grabs that spirit, takes it to the spirit world to get it back there, discovers 3 other spirits while they were there.
Sure. There's a bunch of them.
Suddenly, 3 moaning apparitions break through the clouds of the spirit world. We are the trio of lost souls doomed to wander through. I kind of feel like it's a Paul Bear kind of thing I'm doing there.
It is kind of.
But I got to go higher.
Yeah,
so, doomed to wander through eternity.
Don't like that.
Sorry, I'll stop. We are the trio of lost souls doomed to wander through eternity until our murderer, Paul Ventresco, has been punished for killing us.
Boy, they know exactly who killed him.
He shows back up. I love this one too. And he's like, Mr. Justice regains control over and sends the ghost back to the spirit world.
Sure.
And then goes to Ventresco and goes, nobody has ever been able to prove you are a murderer, Ventresco. But now the police will have all the evidence they need to send you to the chair. He's going to be
because some
3
ghosts
told me he killed him.
Huh.
And technically, they tell them where he died.
Well, he is Mr. Justice.
The cops show up. It's done.
If you're going to believe anybody, it's going to be Mr. Justice.
We'll get these. I just included it just to show some art.
Yeah.
It gets very political.
Oh, I would imagine. Sure.
And it's just him fighting a lot of Nazis.
Yeah.
And so this.
Well, that one on the cover says like versus the Axis or whatever.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. Extra War, Corporal Collins versus the Axis. That was another character there. By the way, all these 10 cents at the time.
Wow.
So
what a deal.
So Mr. Justice ends up appearing also in another book that they do called Jackpot Comics.
Jackpot.
And he's only in like 6 issues of that.
Wait, who are big books in Jackpot?
So still Sterling's back in that.
Okay.
Black Hood shows up. Also Mr. Justice. New feature Archie, because MLJ does become Archie Comics. So Archie, 1941 in Pep Comics is where he debuts.
Oh, well.
And then also Sergeant Boyle.
Sergeant Boyle.
Sergeant Charles Boyle.
Sure.
So... Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference.
Is it? Is it really? Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if he's a sergeant. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Huh.
Never watched it?
No, I did watch it, and I just kind of fell off for some reason. I don't know why. It's one of those that I always think, like, I should go back and just watch that whole thing. Yeah.
It's good. But so there's a lot I included in here just for your viewing pleasure. Whenever you do. We're not going to talk about it.
Love this dude on the cover.
Yeah. So you can see we're at issue
16.
So
Captain
from 9
Flag.
to 16, he has already lost the cover.
Yeah.
His stories in these two quit being from, I'm sorry, he's the first story here, but the next story after it, they quit being the very first, because all these, he was the very first story in the comic. They go to him being the very last story in the comic.
No,
so he's quickly dropping off.
You know who hasn't dropped off? Richie and Orangutan.
Nope, they're still there.
They're still there, right on the top.
They always hold true. But I included the trilogy or the saga of the Green Ghoul in there for your, it's a connected story.
Yeah.
The Green Ghoul is a menace for 3 stories in a row. So
holy crap, he's fighting the devil.
Yeah,
I mean, literally the devil.
And that is what I kept this issue for that we're about to get to.
Okay.
So it's great. But the Green Ghoul, one of the funny things is it's like this green monster that is basically created by the devil.
And he chases people in their underwear.
But when he strangles people, I guess he leaves seaweed behind. Because there's a panel where he's like, oh, this seaweed. It must have been the Green Ghoul who killed this guy. Don't know why.
I like this one panel. It's just a lady who I guess is in a very high top swimsuit, like almost a bikini kind of thing. It looks like underwear. But the entire panel, if you just took this out and made a shirt out of it, it says, the girl trips over a rock. Help. That's the whole panel. Her tripping over a rock.
That's great. Girl trips over a rock.
Help.
So
help this rock.
Let's get to just probably his biggest villain of all time.
Okay.
And this is just his 5th appearance here. So this is Blue Ribbon Comics number 14, I believe. 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm sorry, 13.
13.
It's on the cover. It's a very, fire and brimstone type cover. But when you open it up, Mike, as you can see, it is a giant picture of...
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's Satan.
It's supposed to be Satan, but here's what it says. It says a nameless thing of evil.
Yeah.
They don't call him what it is. I didn't think that the Bible had copyright that you had to worry about.
No, but I can see like trying to sell something with the devil in it to your kids or whatever,
Yeah, and so they do it as just some great evil, but it definitely is. Like everything about here is.
Yeah.
What we come to find out in Mr. Justice, apparently, a nameless thing of evil, we'll just call him the devil,
right?
Looks down on a world erupting with hate and greed. And in the things foul and distorted, or in the things foul and distorted mind, a vicious plan. It's hard to read this, sorry.
Yeah, I got it.
Takes form. Basically, he decides to take human form and join all the evil men together in a great dictatorship with himself as its dictator.
So he becomes Hitler.
That's right. Hitler is the human form of the devil in Mr. Justice. There's a whole panel about it's just weird because
that's not that far a stretch. As far as comics,
it goes like panel by panel. One day a house painter appears in the village.
Every
opportunity he arouses vicious men who spread.
Wait, what?
It says with an A.
Okay.
He arouses vicious men.
He's a fluffer for bad guys. Come on, Jimmy the Crook. You can do it.
We need a new one. Oh, man. And it said, who spread his gospel of evil and terror.
Okay.
They began to flock to his meeting place. It just says beer garden. They adopted a uniform to please their childish eyes. I don't get what that.
I don't know.
And childishly worship their leader as a savior.
Sure.
So basically, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. He's Hitler. Huh,
Yep.
cool.
And so he takes over, and it even includes like Austria, Czechia. I guess it's supposed to be Czechoslovakia, but they just shortened it to Czechia.
It's what it was before. It was
Poland, Denmark, Norway, Holland, Belgium, France. It's just talking about all this taking over, and you never see the dictator's face.
Yeah.
They always show the back, but he's wearing Nazi uniforms. There's a swastika and stuff. And they're talking about, it says in America, Roy Winkler, Mayor Clark, and his daughter, doesn't even say her name, but we know it's Pat.
Poor old Pat.
And Mr. Justice tune in to the broadcast, and they hear like just the news. So Mr. Justice decides in the days to come, one figure will stand out as champion of freedom, the spirit of Mr. Justice. That's right. He's done just taking care of normal crooks. He's going to win us World War II.
Is this, hang on, he fights with Captain Flag also.
He doesn't fight with him at all. Captain Flag's just in.
Well, wait, no, there is a part where he fights with him. Because at some point, yeah, here we go. This one says, let's get him, Captain Flag. Right with you, Mr. Justice.
Yeah, no, they
but
don't
then
share,
they never fight.
They don't share a story in that at all.
Oh,
it's
cool.
It's just the cover.
Oh, okay. Well, he's fighting. There's like the four horsemen of the apocalypse with the Nazi thing.
Because this is the story from that issue.
Yeah.
He's not in there at all.
Huh. Okay.
So I think it was just a gimmick to sell covers. Basically, though.
You bastards.
So he finds out that apparently the Royal Wraith arrives at a shipyard. I'm trying to remember.
What's the Royal Wraith?
That's also Mr. Justice's name.
Since he's okay. Prince James,
but we never bring that up again. So we don't know why he's the Royal Wraith.
The Royal Wraith, to me, sounds like his ship or something.
So basically, I'm trying to remember the Nazis.
He's got to hate ships. Does he like ships or hate ships?
He has no preference on ships.
Because, I mean, like, that's where he was created, was on a ship.
Well, I mean, technically, he was held on he was freed on a ship. I guess he would. So I guess he likes ships. Okay. That's Nazis. Pat gets kidnapped again. He decides to go all the way to Germany.
I love your excitement for the story, but then when it actually unfolds, you're like, yeah. And then Pat trips over a rock, and Mayor
some of it is just
bar.
Nothing till we get to points. It's like peaks and valleys. I'm just getting you to the next page. Okay. So he shows up in Germany with this room full of, like Nazi officials. Yeah. And he just starts punching them all out, right? And it goes striking with lightning, like fury of the dictator's army itself. Mr. Justice pummels the tyrant from pillar to post, subjecting his opponent to the most vicious beating a man ever experienced. But when he's finished, not a hair on the head of the dictator is out of place.
Okay.
And he goes, evidently, you're not the weakling I thought you were.
Because your face really stands
Mr.
up
Justice
to a punch.
But even though you may not be afraid of me, I don't fear you either. We may as well understand each other. What kind of a thing of evil are you?
Yeah.
To which the dictator replies, you don't know and you really wish to know? Very well, I shall show you. And he reveals to himself, watch closely, you shall see who I am. As the dictator speaks.
Just give me a few minutes. His
features undergoes a change, and he appears to him as you are the embodiment of all things evil, and you believe you are beyond the power of good. But mark my words, there is a way to destroy you, and I shall not rest until it is done. And that is how the devil is his main villain for basically the rest of the thing. Because it is and it isn't, because he's fighting the dictator, but the dictator's the devil.
Well,
AKA Hitler.
Okay, the last panel in this is just him fighting the devil.
But it ends.
That's it?
No, they don't really fight. It just sets him up as a villain.
Okay. I see. Game. So going forward, he would fight the devil that is also Hitler.
Yep. And that is what, we start off. I skipped issues. It starts the next one with this Green Ghoul saga. Where he's already taken out. He goes, first destroying his lieutenant, now only the air marshal remains to be eliminated. So he's going through issue by issue, just taking out a member.
Air marshal.
Yeah, and he kills the air marshal. Essentially, he doesn't kill him like the German. I don't want to waste anybody's time explaining it.
Sure, I get it. Yeah.
So that is Mr. Justice, just because, and he also appears in Jackpot Comics. Eventually, later Archie Comics, because that's what MLJ ends up becoming. had a series called, what are they? They're not the Mighty, is it the Mighty Avengers? No, it's not. There's a superhero team that they had with Archie Comics, and they do kind of a little bit in the 60s where it's a story called like Too Many Superheroes. And it's all these superheroes showing up, helping them fight, but then they want to join whatever the group is.
Yeah.
Mr. Justice appears in that for a brief little bit.
Wow.
He appears also again, I think maybe sometime in the 80s.
I would love to have a good like ghost superhero.
I couldn't pick up like where in there or if he was used. He's shown up in the Archie cartoon, I found out.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like he appeared. So he's not a big character now, obviously.
I guess all of
he's
this
just
stuff,
a character that fits.
I guess all of this stuff is owned by whoever is.
Like the stuff we covered technically is all public domain stuff.
Right.
Because it was MLJ. They're out of business. They don't own it. But the character of Mr. Justice himself is still technically owned by, I think, MLJ. I mean, by Archie Comics. But the stories it's weird.
I just want to know who owns Rangatang.
Archie Comics, maybe. You want to write? Do you want to do a Rangatang book?
Oh, boy,
do you want to draw a Rangatang?
Love to do.
Oh man, do you want me to do that for an episode? Do you want me to cover Rangatang?
I want to know about Richie the Amazing Boy and Rangatang the Wonder Dog.
I think I just want you to tell me your biggest wishes. Like just one night when you're all hyped up on Ambien, just text me like, I want a superhero. If there's this kind of superhero,
fucking texting,
or if there's this kind of superhero.
Excuse my foul language.
So I can at least know, like, because I can probably find something that relates to it.
Yeah.
But no, this is just fun.
Yeah, find Origin Man. That's what you need to find.
Yeah, I'll work on Origin Man, see if I can hunt that down. So that's Mr. Justice. Obviously a lot to do with World War II.
Yeah.
Not necessarily great stories. The art's fantastic. I really love the way he looks in this. Like if I could draw a character like Mr. Justice, I would, because it's just it's a really cool looking.
Are there any like
character? Like I really love that cover. Like it's just super cool of him just kind of appearing as like a.
It's very cool. No, you're good. Are there any like creepy superheroes like and when I say
Plastic Man?
Well, yeah, okay. So you know what I'm asking.
And I should say that
like
in a sense.
Peeping Tom type.
Yeah, so here's the thing, kind of like Translucent and The Boys. Plastic Man also started out as, who was it that we were covering? Nightmare and Sleepy. He appeared for that same publisher. I can't remember who it was right now. Yeah. But so he started out and then like DC ended up getting him too. But there's a panel. The reason I bring up Plastic Man is just there's that Batman and Robin that we read. Was it that one?
I think. Well, I don't remember what it was. But
he's
I
kind
remember
of a
you
nutball in that one,
referencing it.
And he's just not that great of a dude, kind of in general. But there is one where he turns himself into a dress.
Yes.
That one of the other characters wears, and she's like, "This thing is so tight, like it used to not be."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Wait," and she knows that it's him. That's very creepy, and he's still like a hero.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some like that.
Okay, yeah.
There is one that I should get to.
I just want one that I hate. You know what I mean? Like
I want a hero that you absolutely hate.
Yeah. Like I want a hero that's just terrible. Just a terrible person. But they still save
Homelander.
people. Well, but you know, that's written that way.
No, I know. So you want him to be like, not like he's written away and just, okay. So it'd be perfect to find like this. It would have to be.
I think it's a public domain.
I think
like
it has to be public domain, and he's written one way where. Yeah.
But now it would be super creepy.
Oh yeah.
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 Okay. I like the sound of that.
I'll dive into this. It's kind of those romance comics.
Well, yeah, that's true.
In a sense.
That is a lot of it.
Darling You Snore,
Darling You Snore.
I got to do another one of those eventually.
I'm going to leave you at this beach because you snore.
I will say one thing, just kind of to the eye bleach equivalent, or just the, something good to drink after you've had eaten something terrible.
Yeah.
If you want something that is really good comic-wise, that is related to World War II in a sense, I am currently reading Mouse.
Oh yeah,
by Art Spiegelman, which is absolutely fantastic.
That's the one they tried to ban.
Yeah,
or I guess they did ban it.
They did
for
ban
a while.
It some.
Yeah, now it's being banned again. Hey, everything old is new.
It is, but I'm about halfway through it, and it's one of those. It's been the first thing in a while. Like once I get started, I don't want to put it down.
MAUS.
MAUS. Yeah. It's the story. Art Spiegelman. It's the story of his dad.
Yeah.
And it's a story that he wanted to tell.
Was his dad a Holocaust
his
survivor?
dad was a Holocaust survivor.
All right.
And so that's what it tells. It starts with like,
this is coming back to me now.
it does. It basically takes you from, and there's other stories told. And I kind of like that. Like at the beginning, he tells a story of like this woman he dated before the writer's mom. And he's like, but you didn't want to hear about it. You want to hear about the story. And he's like, no. Like keep telling. Like we need to know. Yeah. And so it just sets up, like you get a, insight into what was going on in during World War II in Poland, because that's where they're from. And this is a guy that his dad was captured as a POW, got released from a POW.
I remember some of those covers and stuff, some of the art. Yeah.
He's lucky enough that, he's able to escape in some of the way. Like it's very, I don't want to say interesting in fact, because obviously it's horrible, but just.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Just to know what it's fantastic. And it's a very smart move to, I think, in a sense, of it makes it a little bit more approachable. Right. So far, I haven't had like there's heavy subject matter, obviously, sure. But there's nothing like in the art itself that's very graphic. There is a scene of where it insinuates that because people get hung for what they've done, and it kind of does the where you can tell they're hanging, show the feet kind of thing. But what they do is all the Jewish characters in here are drawn as mice, and all the Nazis are drawn as cats. So it's all animals. So it kind of takes, it's more about the story.
It's an animal farm kind of. Yeah.
And so like, I think other people from Poland in there, they're drawn as pigs, maybe because just the alliteration P and P. Sure. But the stories in there are just absolutely.
Maybe you just hated Polish people.
Maybe. Well, no, because there's a story about how like some of the Polish people would help out. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But that is a complete opposite. But it is so good.
So you know what we've not done? We do a lot of, and it's in the name. We do a lot of heroes, and we do a lot of like superhero type stuff, even villains and things. Sure. You know what we've never done is like one of those real life comics, like a Harvey Pekar or somebody like that. One of those things where like they're telling the story of like their everyday life, which I always thought was weird.
It is. And I came across some of the public domain ones that I thought about doing. Yeah. They made like sports comics.
Oh yeah.
And it's like baseball. There was 3 issues of like a baseball comic, and it tells different stories about the players. And I wanted to read through one of those and then go double check to see if it's all BS that they were just pumping out there. That's I know not related to what you were talking about there.
No, but it kind of is. Yeah, I'm just thinking anything that's
just
not, kind of like really
it makes
a superhero.
Me think of what was that?
I mean, even the Archie thing we did, had the freaking Predator in it. So
American Splendor.
That's the Harvey Pekar story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that. Yeah. Man, that's a lot to cover though, because it lasted a while.
It is definitely. Yeah.
But something along those lines. Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Let's what's the. Let's do a special on Kathy, like the shopping for bathing suits or whatever.
That's just a lot of strips, but they're probably a collection of them. Oh man! All right,
something stupid.
So we got a lot. I'll work on something.
It's like Kathy month.
We're not doing a whole
Kathy
month.
And Garfield month.
You're gonna be. I might do one of Garfield. I'll for sure do a whole month of Pearls Before Swine because that is my favorite comic strip. I do
Pearls Before Swine.
Pearls Before Swine. Huh. I do have a collection of a couple collections of Pearls
I'd love
Before
to
Swine.
See that. Yeah.
Because it's just the strips, but it's like he's done it for years.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious to me. So,
is that the one with the duck?
No, the main guys. It's a pig and a mouse that are the main characters.
You know what my favorite one was?
It's the alligators that are just stupid.
Bloom County was my big
Bloom
one.
County's good too.
Bloom County was my big one.
Bloom County's good. No,
I did a giant Bill the Cat on my wall when I was living with my parents. Yeah, big old.
Also like Mother Grimm a little bit too.
Yeah.
Far Side.
I
liked Far Side.
Yeah, let's do a special on cows. That'll be great.
Here's what's so funny is
I don't know how that would.
I'll close out with this story that has nothing to do with anything. But my mother, in a job she used to have, she worked with doctors in residency.
Dude made a friggin' fortune on calendars.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But they had like those collection of books.
Yeah.
And me as a kid, I just saw them as cartoons, so I'd read through them. Sure. And I like some of them I got, and some of them I was like, And I go back reading them now. I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, but it's just so funny that.
Why does this cow care about air conditioning?
Exactly. Sure. I was just like, it's crudely drawn. Like, I was just like, these kids' books suck.
Yeah.
But, no. But
they're very funny. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes.
What was the one? It was about the same time as Bloom County, but it was like realistic stuff. There was a guy who was the main. Doonesbury.
Yeah, I was honestly about to say
Doonesbury.
Doonesbury. Yeah.
I had never really read Doonesbury because Doonesbury to me seemed very boring.
Doonesbury, if I can say it, Doonesbury. I read it more, like I would read it through I'd got to a point when I'd get old enough. I'd read through them all, and I usually didn't read it because it always seemed like it was political related.
Right.
And as like a teenager, I'm
right,
like, I don't
right.
know
That was my thing. I was
but
eh.
like when I got older, I'd read through it, and then somebody would be like, all right, again, it's like I think it's more meant for adults anyway.
Yeah.
So it did seem boring. I'm
well,
with you there.
there's a character, and I want to say his name's Steve, but there's a character in Bloom County that is very Doonesbury-esque.
Gotcha.
Like he's this guy who's a writer. He kind of looks like what was his name? Fear and Loathing.
Oh, Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a Hunter S. Thompson kind of guy. Always got a cigarette,
Yeah.
that
I know. I
thing.
think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the only reason I was ever drawn to Doonesbury is because of Bloom County. I was like, this is just a send up of Doonesbury.
Yeah. But well, we could also talk about Dilbert if you wanted to as well.
Oh, Dilbert, sure.
So
still going strong.
Still going strong. Good for
500
him.
years in.
Good for him.
Scott Adams.
So,
I think he's been a very he's a troublesome character. The Scott Adams guy, I believe.
The rat, really?
Yeah, I think the real guy is like a. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but I think he's had some hot water kind of stuff.
You know what? I have stories I don't know why it made me think of this, but I'll save it for next episode because it's really great. But
yeah, don't give it to this one.
No,
don't give them anything really great.
No, we had great stuff in here. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to extend it. Like,
yeah,
I'm
I
just saving
understand.
it for next episode. But it's how at two different points in time, there was a chance where Marvel could have printed a lot of DC's run. Like we're talking about Marvel would have produced Batman, Superman, Green Arrow, like all that.
Yeah.
And then the time of how Sony could have had the movie rights to the entire Marvel universe and didn't.
Yeah, I remember that.
So those are just fun little tidbits we can get into next week. We'll also have a comic book character to discuss as well. So you can always look forward to that.
It seems so secondary to everything else.
Or you can just listen to us talk. I think that's what most people like anyway.
Hey, man, it's been fun.
It has.
Always.
And as always, we appreciate you all taking your time out to listen. Until next time, stay safe.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about. This has been a Rogue Media podcast.